Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. This is your host and coach, Aditya Sisodia, and welcome to season 6, episode 7 of Stories of Opportunity. In our series, we bring you change maker, decision makers, and strategic leaders who share their perspective on industry, on personal improvement, and also support you with the latest trend in the market. For those of you who are joining in for the first time, I'll humbly request you do follow the channel, do comment in the chat. We would love to hear your thoughts and do encourage others to join this live conversation. We are currently live and we would love to host you and address all your questions regarding today's topic, which is about the changing landscape of employee benefit. In our today's conversation, I have invited a very good friend of mine and an industry leader when it comes to employee benefit, Chandana Bhattacharya. A bit about Chandana Bhattacharya. She has got over 15 years of experience, and it ranged from Amex, American Express, Bajaj Alliance General Insurance, and also currently she's working as Associate Vice President, Mercer Marsh, as employee benefit consultant. In our today's show, Channa would be sharing her personal views with respect to employee benefit. Now, what can you expect in our today's segment? In our today's segment, you can understand what kind of coverage should you look for if you're working in a corporate. What are few of the benefits that you can expect, and what should be the ideal amount? What are the documents you require for hospitalization? What to do if your sum insured is exhausted by any chance? And if you have any personal question, do drop in the chat your comments and we would love to address that. So without any further delay, let's roll the intro and let's invite Chandana in our studio. So see you on the other side. Hi, Chandana. Welcome to Stories of Opportunity. How are you?
Thank you so much, Aditya. I'm doing pretty good, and thanks for inviting me to your story of opportunity. And I hope to add some value, takeaways for our audience today. Thank you so much.
Definitely, definitely, Chandana. Personally, when I interacted with you about employee benefit, I was quite amazed and I felt like it can become a segment of our show where you can educate and share your perspective, your experience with respect to employee benefit. So amazing. And Channa, I have introduced you. I would also invite you to share a bit about yourself, about your experience. Over to you.
Thanks, Aditya. So as you said, I have a diverse experience across the industries. I started with American Express, did a bit of internship with an agency, which was a really fond experience that I have. Then I moved on to being placed during my campus with Bajaj Alliance General Insurance, and it was a different experience. Being a management trainee, you are put across different segments. You learn about what are the types of insurances that is even available, what are the risks associated with each and every industry that we see, each and every areas of our day to day lives that we can experience. So it was an extremely wide introduction of me to the land of risks and to the land of mitigating those risks. So that's what insurance is about. And from there, I moved on to a management consulting firm, which is Frost. And then I just simply dived into the world of broking and consulting. And that's where I've been for the past 7 years now. And setting the perspective of our today's topic as well. So, when I moved into the broking world, I realized that one of the major segments or one of the major risks that our corporates face today is the employee risk. The employee risk of retaining them, the employee risk of even attracting the top talents in the industry, the human capital, which is basically your you know productivity driver in your organization. How can you mitigate that risk? How can you make them more involved in your business? How can you make them feel valued, is something that I've learned across my experience with Aon, with Marsh. And it gives me immense pleasure to share this with all the audience. I'm sure they are part of the industry, and they are employees and employers, and what they can have as a takeaway from our discussion today.
Great, great. So, Chandana, let's start with our today's series. So, first of all, I would love to understand from you, why did you choose this topic for our today's conversation, which is the changing landscape of employee benefit in India? I would love to hear your perspective.
Sure. Thanks for your question, Aditya. So, um, this pandemic, if not anything else, has taught us how important is knowing your benefits and being covered with the right benefit. You know, uh, One of the important lessons is the importance of the benefits that we currently are enrolled with in our personal lives, or by our corporates, and how it really has helped a long way in reducing our distress, be it financial, be it personal, be it be it moving around in the hospitals to get yourself adequately covered. And we have seen that health and well-being, especially mental well-being, physical well-being was always under focus, but mental well-being has come out to be one of the most significant area of risk in today's environment of employee benefits. It has slowly, it gives me a lot of pleasure to say that it is no more a taboo in our country. It used to be so closed, closed doors talks, that people were so hesitant to come out and express their views and express their problems that they used to face. So, you know, this topic is very close to my heart because day in and day out, I see, I hear, I experience the kind of issues that the employees are facing in an organization. And though there is a lot being done already, there is still an immense scope. There is still an immense area of improvement that the employers could do, and this change could only have been due to this black swan event that COVID-19 has brought under. So, unfortunately, still today, I see amongst our friends, amongst our families, our colleagues, the awareness about benefits, the awareness of what is the right benefit that they should have. What is the importance of life insurance? Why is it important to have a personal life insurance benefit? Why is it important? Why it is important that your spouse, your loved ones know, what is your coverage, and how to use it. Though with all God's grace and almighty, I hope that it doesn't come, but it is a reality now, and it's important that we all understand that it's an eventuality, it's a possibility, and we should be prepared for all the kind of possibility. So this is one of the reasons why I chose this topic. Also, we see in the news nowadays, the legislative bodies, the government bodies are focusing so much on promoting insurance, promoting the penetration of the insurance. The Ministry of Family and Health and Welfare, they are bringing in so pro employee centric amendments, be it the labor code, be it introduction of the FDIs to make the insurance industry more adaptable, more digital, to enable us and to make the employee benefits program more acceptable.
Amazing, amazing. So, Channa, let's talk it in an organizational perspective.
Sure.
Since you have worked across the globe, in your experience, what is the general employee perception, sorry, with respect to the employee benefit program? And what similarities and difference have you seen across geographies?
Sure. So, Aditya, being part of the MNC organizations, you get to actually experience how the world is evolving. And from more of the developed countries, when I compare India, still our benefits is perceived at a much lower value. For example, in a Europe or a US, country, when an employee is looking for a company or when they are prospecting their employers, their first important, even before their compensation, their designation, is what are the benefits that I will get out of my association with this company? Am I going to get my insurance? Am I going to be able to cover my children, my husband? Of course, the parents is not that big a priority in their lives there as compared to us, but it is extremely important for them to know what are the benefits that they will get. Salary and designation is an after discussion. So, but it's absolutely a shift in our country. In our country, the first focus that an employee would see in a prospective employee is, ये company कितनी बड़ी है, you know, and is it an MNC or is it a a domestic company? Like companies like Oyo and companies like Plum. These are the upcoming new latest startups. The benefits that these guys give to their employees is mind blowing. You know, they are better than a lot of MNC benefits that are being currently provided. So the outlook or the perspective of an employee when they are going ahead with a benefit is very closed doors right now. So they would see what is the brand value of the company, how big is it a Fortune 500 or a Fortune 200 company, how good a paymaster is the company. And especially with the LinkedIn material that is available, it's very easy to figure out how good a paymaster a company is. They also go and check on a lot of platforms, what is the average tenure a company, an employee sticks in an organization, to find out the stability. They also check what is the employee feedback. There are a lot of platforms like Glassdoor, which gives out a very open feedback about an organization, the pros and cons, why yes and why no. What is the job description like? Is there a flexibility of me being able to choose my location, for especially for the ITES? Will I have an on-site opportunity? Can I earn a few bucks in dollars? So that's few of the current perspective or a current outlook an employee has when he's choosing an employer. But it has to shift. Those can't be the only areas that you should be focusing on. Yes, salary is important, designation is important, but what about your mental peace? Do you ask ever when you go for an interview, what is the work life balance in the organization? How many times a week am I expected to stretch beyond my working hours? If my working hours is from 9 to 5 or 9 to 6, am I also supposed to stretch beyond that? And if I do, am I eligible for a extra overtime bonus? So then what are my insurance benefits? Do I have do you cover my parents? If you don't cover my parents, is there any way I'll be able to contribute and get my parents covered in the program? What are the leave structures beyond the statutory leaves that you're supposed to give me? Can I take mental health break? For example, I'm working at a stretch and I'm exhausted mentally. Do I get to take a personal break, no questions asked? So we have to somewhere balance between our transactional, our day-to-day areas of involvement with an organization to a more broader spectrum of involvement where it benefits you as an employee, your mental well-being, your physical well-being. Is the company taking care of your gym membership, or maybe a personal coach reimbursement, or maybe a dental vision, or a simple visit to a doctor's consultation? Is that covered as part of your policy? So this is the prospective change that needs to come for even the employers to look at that kind of shift in their benefits offering.
Wow, that's quite a lot. And for our viewers and our listeners, I would encourage you, do comment in the chat. What are your thoughts? What are some benefits that you would like to understand from a employee benefit consultant directly from the horse's mouth? So moving over to our next question, as we segue, I would love to understand from you, Chandana, what are some relevant benefit which a prospective candidate can be aware of before joining any organization? Let's keep it very broad.
Sure. So, Aditya, I mean, in an Indian organizational setup, stating that we work 40 or 50 hours a week is a lie. It's been too optimistic. But when we go to a realistic, um, putting in 10 to 12 hours during the lockdown was becoming a common phenomenon. You know, and 10 into 5, that's almost 50 to 60 hours in a week. And if we subtract the 8 hours of sleep, we are almost devoting 50% to 60% of our hours into the organization for the organization's growth. You know, so it's very important that we we try and figure out what's organizations take on their investments in us as employees. If we are willing to invest that kind of hours, that kind of hard work into making our organization successful, what is the company's contribution similar to that? So when we look at the benefit structure or a benefit employee benefits program, the relevant benefits which take up the maximum pie out of the cake is the insurance. Insurance is the most budgeted benefit in the entire employee benefits program. So it takes about good 60 to 70% of the entire budget. And when we talk about insurance, group medical insurance is one which takes away the 90% of the cost to an employer. So it shows how relevant and how important this benefit is, not just to the employee, but also to the employer from a financial security. So the risk that comes with an employee due to their hospitalization, due to their medical emergency, which we have seen go haywire during the COVID-19, shows the importance that the benefit has, or the relevance of the benefit in as part of the benefit offering of the company. So the first thing that an employee should look in a prospective employer, or even in the organization they are working, is what kind of benefits are they getting in terms of their medical insurance. So as I quoted previously, is the benefit coverage sufficient for them and their family to manage? So a lot of companies during the COVID-19 pandemic, especially during the second wave, um, went ahead and involved a lot of consultants to analyze if their benefits was even sufficient. And in the process, they realized that, you know, if they moved away from the benchmark, or what their peers were doing, they realized that every company has a very unique and a custom need. So the kind of age group that the company has, the kind of role or the job category that the employees have. If they have more desk jobs, their risk is lesser compared to a more manufacturing unit where the risk is higher. So insurance is definitely one of the most relevant benefits that a prospective employee should look at. And they should, and in the insurance benefit, what is also important to check is if there are any OPD offerings. Outpatient, though, even though the relevance is pretty low even today, but still, it's an important benefit. We all use OPD benefit at least twice a year. Going to the dentist or going to a eye specialist or just cough and cold and especially with viewers with kids would be able to associate more, how frequent a visit to a hospital is. Over and above that, we also need to see how the wellness and well-being initiatives are of the company. Are they providing enough opportunity for you to get yourself annual health checkup for yourself and your family? Are they able to provide you with sufficient, doctor's consultation post the health checkup? Are they letting you, are they even freeing your space for that health checkup? That's one of the important questions. Sorry. Also, one of the just give me a minute.
Please. So, ladies and gentlemen, what are your thoughts? What are the benefits would you like to consider in your next role or in your current role? I would invite you, do ask our speaker and do share your thoughts in the comment below. Yes.
Thanks, Aditya, for the short water break. So, also one of the important thing you should ask during the interview when the HR says, "So, do you have any questions for us?" In all probability, we just want to be in their good books, and we say, "Oh no, we understood everything that you said." But what we don't understand here is one of the important questions that we should be asking them is, "What's your benefit philosophy in the long run?" How do you treat your people who are 40 plus, 45 plus, 50 plus? Are you doing some sort of upskilling? Are you giving them some sort of mechanisms to upgrade themselves with the newcomers who are joining all prepped up from tier 1 colleges? And how are you enabling them to compete and still add value with the experience that they hold? So you need to understand their benefits philosophy. Do they believe in stability? Do they believe in retaining their talents? Do they believe in upskilling and upgrading their skill set? Also, you need to understand that how will they help you manage your tax liability. I mean, we know how the tax structures are becoming in today's world. I mean, what you earn, you just shell out 30% of that. So how is your company enabling you to save tax? Are they giving you some opportunities of investing in flexible benefits? Are they giving you opportunities like car lease allowance, or are they providing you with insurances that save your tax? Are they enabling you for an NPS? Are they enabling you for a retirement benefit with which you can save tax under ATC or ATCCD or things like that? So there are a lot of ways and means in which a company can structure your compensation in a way that you save maximum amount of tax. So this is one of the important questions that you should be asking. How you going to help me save my tax? And one of the most important thing that we miss out is, what are the training and upskilling platforms do you provide to me? Do you help me go to a university of tier 1 rank? And do you help me, do you subsidize or do you sponsor my fees of upskilling myself or upgrading myself? Or would you rather have me do it and then you hire me at a higher package? What's your take on this? So these are certain thought-provoking questions that you should be asking the HR or the recruitment team, and which will help you gauge beyond salary. Salary, I'll tell you, you might get a wow 60-70% jump, but how sustainable is that jump? Is that question you should be asking. So this employee benefits program is aimed at asking that relevant questions which will help you understand if this is sustainable in the long run. Will I be able to justify this? You're and the question you should be asking yourself is, are you a short term player or are you a long term player?
Wow, that's amazing. So, Channa, just for clarification, what comes under employee benefit? Is it
Sure.
only insurance, or are there other components for our listeners and our viewers so that they'll have a perspective next time when they hear the word employee benefit?
Okay. Sorry, my miss. I should have started with giving a detailed understanding of. So every organization has a benefits program catered for their employees. So it
Mhm.
includes everything. It includes the smallest things like transportation that they provide for their employees, or it could be as big as, giving them a 3-year sponsored university program. So any and every uh, benefit that an organization has curated for an employee for their benefit basically becomes an employee benefits program. So few of the common ones are insurance, the education and training purpose, their training programs, the car lease allowance programs, the transportation programs, the wellness programs, the mental well-being, one-on-one, one-to-one health, the HRA program. So everything under the umbrella of benefits that an employee receives, even to the extent of the gifting, the total rewards that an employee gets during the year, falls under the umbrella of employee benefits.
Wow, wow, that's quite impressive. So, ladies and gentlemen, now you have a broad perspective, and my next question to Chandana is going to give you a deeper insight. And Chandana, give us your 2 cents on: is it important to know the benefit offered by competition before negotiating the benefit? Because it might be a bit awkward. Like if I say, hey, they are giving me pick and drop, they are providing me 20 days leave in an year, because I was interacting with a senior leader, and that person told, I don't want to change organization during their transition phase. And when I asked them that, okay, so why you don't, the person categorically told me, hey, I'm getting 20 days in my current organization, in my next organization it's only 10 days leave annually. I told, okay, that's interesting, what else? Because don't you feel it becomes a bit rude, like I'm putting my demand, hey, I want these things, if you do it I'll join, if you don't, thank you, all the best, other candidates are outside. So what's your 2 cent?
So that's a very, very good question that you've posed. It's not really saying that, okay, 10 days leave there, 20 days leave here, 3 lakhs of coverage there, 1 lakh of coverage here. It's not really that. How a person should gauge the competition is through a very defined I mean, you cannot be clueless, you cannot be illogical. You should have some base, you should have some logic when you're doing this research for yourself. So you should be able to identify a few group of people who are, in your same age, who have the similar skill set as you. You cannot compare yourself from a college different, or with a guy who is from MIT. There has to be a peer to peer on an apple to apple comparison. Then you should be, focused on what kind of qualifications you have, what kind of experience you have had, what kind of years of experience you bring forth, what are the awards and recognitions that you have accumulated over the years of your experience. So these are few of the structure, and one of the most important is what is your current family structure. Are you a single with no responsibility? Are you, you know are you a married person with a toddler at home, or are you in your 40s with ailing parents who have a substantial medical need? So it is important to know what kind of benefits your competition is giving, you know in your segment of life, in your segment section of experience, in your category of skill set. So when you also do this comparison, which is apple to apple, or maybe an apple to baby or a big apple, you will figure out that a competition is more or less going to be giving you at par, because all of these large organizations hire a HR consulting firm whose only job is to ensure that the benefits are competitive, the benefits are at par, because there are only a handful of companies. If I am not joining Honeywell today, I'll be joining Airbus tomorrow. And if I'm not joining Airbus tomorrow, I'll be coming back to Honeywell again. you know both of these company being in the aerospace industry. So you will see that the competition will not be very different from where you are right now. But what will make a difference, or the right question to ask again, to your target group of research would be, hey, do you have a good work life balance? How often are you asked to work on weekends? Do you think, for example, a very very good example of Google was that they gave a well-being week off to their employees. They said, just take it. After 6:30 you are not expected to be online. If you're online, this is my real life experience that I had with one of the Google employees. They said, after 6, if I am online, my manager says, dude, what are you doing? Just log off. I don't want to be blamed for you going cuckoo tomorrow. I want you to be sane. I want you to be delivering with your sane mind. So these are the questions that you should be asking. Your question should not be, okay, यहाँ 20 दिन मिल गए, यहाँ 10 दिन मिल गए, अच्छा 10 दिन ज्यादा मिल जाएगा तो क्या, when I leave, will I be able to encash those? So your mindset has to be different. So COVID-19 has told us that how we need to restructure or rewire our mindset, how we have to move away from compensation to benefits. Benefits like, well-being, benefits like leaves, well-being, benefits like retirement, benefits like, insurance. So how are the competition faring in these areas? How is competition giving a educational upskilling platform like Coursera or LinkedIn Learning or Udemy? A lot of us, go to these platforms on our out of our own pocket to invest in ourselves. But is the company realizing the importance of the employees need to upskill themselves, and are they enabling them to upskill themselves? So these are the questions that are your takeaway out of a competition review. When you are seeking what are the benefits, these are the benefits that you should be asking. And trust me, after being so closely associated with the employee benefits program, the only bottom line of all benefits is how mentally peaceful, how mentally satisfied, and how mentally happy am I. If my company values that, you can check the retention percentages and the attrition rates of these companies who focus on these areas of an employee well-being.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to take a quick short break. And on the other side, we are going to learn more about what are the benefits, how can you negotiate on benefits, and what should be the coverage you should ideally look for as per your package. So, let's go on a small break and see you on the other side. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. I hope if you're finding value in this conversation, you have subscribed to our channel and also followed. We would love to grow our channel organically, and we would love to have more such intriguing conversation. Remember, each and every like inspires our channel and also makes our channel grow organically. So we have our guest Chandana back in the studio. And Chandana, we have got questions from our audience, which I would love to take. From YouTube, BD has asked, Chandana, can you tell us the company that gives the best benefit across industry?
Okay, thanks, BD, for the question. And it is going to be a little biased because every benefit and every structure of benefits that an organization gives to their employees is pretty personal to the to that company, to that employees, based on certain sentimental surveys or certain in-house benefit survey. But to but to let you know, these upcoming companies like Oyo, where they are looking at a 4-week working structure, where they are focusing, or large organizations like Google, who are giving a recreational leave, or a I think 3 months uh, paternal leave. I think these are very innovative. This gives an employee a lot of faith and a lot of trust in their organizations. So I think it is evolving. A lot of companies are coming in line, especially with concepts like flexible benefits, which is opening up a plethora of benefits that an employee can choose on their own. They are no more dependent on the organization. They are disclosing the budgets that they have allocated for each employees. They are giving the budget in the hands of the employees to choose, personalize or customize their own benefits program. They choose their own platforms of discounts and deals. They can buy their own Amazon vouchers online. They say, okay, I don't want the 5 days leave I have as a leave balance from last year. I would rather spend it on buying a course from Udemy, which my company is sponsoring. Or as simple as buying a tire. I think I'm going back to office, and I think I need a new pair of shoes. I mean, that's the level of freedom. That's the level of personalization that a company is offering in today's environment. So I think I have already given a clue what are the types, and I really should not name companies, but yes, these are few of the names which comes to the top of my mind.
Great, great. Now, Sandeepan has a follow up question which you just resonated about. This session has given a very good insight into employee benefit. Is it a good idea asking what is the interviewing organization thoughts on work life balance? And Channa, just adding to that, how can a person know that the HR or the spokesperson of the organization is walking the talk and not just doing empty bluff in a closed room conversation?
Okay, very very good question, Sandeepan, and thanks for your follow up question as well, Aditya. As I said, and the first needs a lot of homework on your part. So you will have to go to these LinkedIn's and Glassdoors, like, where you will get a very very clear understanding of what those ex employees or present employees are stating about that company. What are the pros and cons, and what is the work life balance like. Every time you open a Glassdoor conversation, you will see the first comment by any of the writer or a participant is, the work life balance is amazing. Out of 8 hours, I get my personal space. I get my time to upskill myself, and I also get time to do my work diligently. So that's the homework that you have to do on your part. But it's a good question. If How do we know if the HR, whatever they are saying, is a closed door conversation and not? So there you would have to be, you would have to seek examples, when you are asking them questions. Okay, you are saying it's a very very employee friendly and employee centric organization where the work life balance is amazing. Can you give few of the examples of what is the minimum tenure minimum tenure of your, say, 40% of the employees or 60% of the employees? So only and only if the work life balance is sustainable? Can an employee really stick to a company that long? So you should ask questions like, okay, how many employees celebrated their 5th year anniversary, how many employees celebrated their 10th year anniversary in the organization. And there is no fluffing or faffing away these answers. They cannot lie. These are material facts that you're asking. So I think these are the area. And to answer Sandeepan, yes, you do have a right to know during your interview how is the work life balance. So if you feel so, you have to gauge the interviewer. And during your interview you should be able to ask them relevant questions like, uh, I have a family, I have a child. So how many times a week am I expected to work beyond 60 hours or 50 hours? You know, and is there a overtime bonus that I am eligible for, an overtime cost that I am eligible for? So these questions will, obviously the HR will always sugarcoat every answer for you. But still there is some reality that you can gauge out of it, and there is no harm in asking the right questions. Trust me.
Agree, agree. The reason I'm smiling is
Yes.
because some of our viewers and our listeners would be thinking, don't you think it's like we are interviewing the HR and we are asking, okay, tell me the company policy. What do you like about HR would be, hello, excuse me, I'm the interviewer and not you. So that
No,
just made
so
me feel.
um, Aditya, I'll give you my personal experience. So, when I started off my career, the questions that I used to ask my interviewer to the questions that I ask now are 180-degree different from what I started to what I am right now. So during my interviews now, I ask, okay, you are giving me this kind of designation. What is my growth map in your organization? So if I'm joining you at a level A, how soon can I expect myself to be at level A being lower and D being higher? How soon can I expect myself to be, at level D? And what do I need to do? What are your promotion policies? What are your scopes in the organization through which I can publish or promote myself, my work better? So starting from भाई 15%, 20% थोड़ा कम है, 30% दे दो, to now, I'm reaching a self actualization stage where I more than salary, I need my self worth to be valued by the organization. So similarly, no question is wrong during interview. Nobody will reject you if you ask what is my how good is the work life balance in the company. They would rather know that, okay, we are hiring a candidate who is aware, who knows things, and who is asking me questions.
Wow, that's amazing. And we have got a question from YouTube. What should be the main thing to be kept in mind for employee insurance related benefit while joining a new organization? This is one of the questions that I have also curated, but I'm glad that our viewers have highlighted this. So, your thoughts on this, Chandana?
Sure. So it's actually a very detailed and a very long question. It'll take me some time to answer. So uh, when you are actually interviewing for a role, and especially after the pandemic, the first thing is you should know what's your age. I mean, of course, you know what's your age, but you should also know what's your family structure. So for an employee, let's say, as an example, for an employee who is 35 and who has a spouse, two children, and parents who are in their 60s, a coverage which is less than 5 lakhs makes absolutely no sense. So it's a very simple and an easy calculation. You just need to see that, okay, I have so every decade till post 30 years your risk increases. So from 30 to 40 your risk will be, let's say, 15%. After 30 your risk will become 20%. So it's all a game of, in your family of 7 members, in a year you can be certain that if you have parents, there would be at least 2 rounds of hospitalization on an average. On an average. And if you have some planned hospitalizations like maternity, or for example a cataract surgery for your parents, you can imagine the kind of expenditure that many times increases. So you have to think at what age you are, at what age is your family, at what family structure you are currently at. So for example, I give an example for a 30-35 year old guy. For somebody who's just 22, uh, I'm okay if my company gives me 2 lakh rupees. Insurance is hardly, making me worried at this point in time. But the moment I cross the age of 29 years, it becomes a priority for me when I'm going ahead and choosing my organization. If my company says, okay, I give you 3 lakhs, but the premium is something that you need to pay, the first thing that should strike to me is, okay, this company is not at all employee benefits friendly, you know and that very moment you should be asking, what is my personal accident benefit eligibility? Are you giving me at least a minimum of 20 lakhs if certain if I happen to have an accident? Are you protecting me in case I am no more able to work for the next 30 days, 60 days, 90 days? Are you giving my children the educational reimbursement because I am not being able to earn money for the next 3 months? Or by god forsaken reason, if something happens to me, how much cover or how much value are you adding or putting to my life? So these are relevant benefits, and these are going to make a financial impact or a direct impact to your mental and financial well-being. So these are few of the main insurance related benefits, which is group medical insurance, the group personal accident insurance, and the group term life insurance that you should be conscious about. And in a group insurance, I said, so if you're married, you have 2 kids, if you're parents, then anything less than 5 does not make sense, especially if you are in a tier 1 city. you know and the current parental insurance incidence rate, I mean, out of every 100 parents around you, there is a very good chance that 14 to 15% of those parents would fall sick. And each hospitalization with the PPE kits and the sanitization kits and the isolation chambers and the masks and all, the inflation rate has touched 15%, which is very high. So so you need to understand that a treatment cost which only was for a lakh rupee some 3 years or a pre-pandemic time has now increased to almost 1 lakh 30, 1 lakh 40%. So you have to translate that kind of impact on your benefits as well, and you need to preempt that kind of benefits, and that's how you should be looking at the insurance benefits that your prospective employer is offering.
Wow. And Chandana, just correct me, medical inflation is also around 8 to 9% annually.
Yes, it was 8 to 9% pre-pandemic, but if you refer to the Mercer report, if you refer to the Aon report, it is almost 13.9, 14.9, 15%.
Whoa.
And few of the insurer discussions that we have had, they said, look, we have suffered immense underwriting losses, and because of those underwriting losses, how long can we sustain like this? We cannot shut our books and say that no, we have completely run out of money to pay. So their top line, their bottom line, everything needs to be sustained. So any impact that they had in the last 2 years will have to somehow get into the current entire medical fraternity. So it will be there. There could be there could be a rise in the medical insurance. There could be a rise in the medical costs. There will be a rise. There would be more and more employers looking to give adequate coverage to their employees in the form of top up policies, in the form of voluntary coverages for parents. Yeah.
So, our YouTube viewers are really appreciating your observations and your key takeaways. Thank you, Aarti. Thank you, Sandeepan. Thank you, Tech BD, for commenting in. So great. And it does not look like we have crossed the 50 minutes mark. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you are finding value, do comment in the chat. And of course, do hit that like button and hit that notification button, because every week we come up with amazing speakers who take out their time to share their learning and observation out of their experience. Great. So moving ahead, Chandana, my next question to you is, what are the personal accident and term life insurance coverage, and is it equally important? And just educate me and the listener, because this is a bonus question, top up question. Hospitalization, normal health insurance versus personal accident, the difference. You just
Sure.
have a water break in the meanwhile.
Sure.
Hmm.
So, actually, why this question is extremely relevant is, in one of my assignments, we actually went out to a huge 10,000 employee population for a survey, because we wanted to understand how do they perceive the benefits that they currently have as offered by their organization. And as a result of that survey, we saw that the only benefit that made sense to the employees is the medical insurance. you know and then that's when I figured out that the mentality of us is more reactive than proactive. So medical insurance is something that we talk about, we see on TVs every day, we see our friends, our families talk about that, ye ho gaya, surgery ho gaya to itna kharcha ho gaya. But when it comes to personal accident and when it comes to term life, these are two such topics which nobody is willing to talk about, nobody is willing to address. Now, does that mean accidents don't happen? Does that mean deaths don't happen? It's not true. Deaths do happen, accidents do happen, and when they happen, the employees are clueless. That's something we have observed. Their families don't know what to do, their families don't know what documents to submit, their families don't even know who to reach out to in such scenarios. So personal accident insurance, term life insurance is equally important as your medical insurance. you know let's say an employee who earns around, let's say, a 50 lakh per annum salary. The moment that employee stops earning that amount for the next 6 months, imagine the kind of financial distress the employee's family is going to go through. And we are living in a millennium age where change is constant, where EMIs are constant, where loans are constant. The kind of financial burden that comes upon when the earning member of the family is meets with an accident, or in worst case scenario is no more, what happens then? you know the vacuum and the financial vacuum that is created because of this incidents is immense. You cannot compare that kind of vacuum in the lives. So what my recommendation would be, or what my suggestion would be, is personal accident is a very very subtle form of telling you that we are there with you in case you have or you meet with an accident. We will give your family a lump sum amount in case you get disabled, or you are unable to join us because of some fracture, or because of some permanent disability, or because of some partial disability. So so with accident comes some sort of disability, and personal accident insurance addresses those disability and lack of income from those disability, and enables you to take care of those financial expenditure, like your child's educational expenses, your medical expenses on actuals, your home and vehicle modification expenses, because of which you are unable to, your crutches, your wheelchairs, or your or the slope that you had to create, or even modify your two-wheeler or four-wheeler to accommodate your disability. So this is equally important. So when you say that your salary is, let's say, on a lower range of 10 lakhs, you need to be a very clear mathematician when you are doing what kind of coverage is sufficient for me. So let's say you earn 10 lakhs a year and you are disabled for 6 months, which makes you lose 5 lakhs straight away, plus the medical expenses, plus the your child education expenses. So in 10 lakhs what you used to spend, you now have to adjust in 5 lakhs. So what is the amount, what is the right coverage that you should have? I think for somebody who can foresee, or even a probability, should at least think about 3 times of their current salary as the right coverage or an adequate coverage. And and anybody above the age of 35 should look at somewhere around 4 to 5 times of their annual compensation as the right coverage. And the same even applies to the term life insurance. So term life insurance has a little more logical calculation, where you need to see how many years of work life that you have left. So if you are at the age of 35, you still have another 25 years to go for your retirement age. And if something were to happen on a yearly compensation of, let's say, 10 lakhs, you need to multiply that with the remaining years, and that's the coverage that you should have, which should be adequate for your family to even sustain for the remaining period of their lives. So these are few of the calculations that you should do. They are available very easily on a lot of these insurance platforms, where they help you identify the right coverage for yourself and your loved ones.
Wow, great. So my just last two question, because we are reaching the 60 minutes mark. The first is, what are some common top-up policies, or rider as we call it in the insurance sector? Can you
Mhm.
name few riders which people should be aware about?
So in medical insurance, one of the most common riders which have come up is the critical illness rider. So critical illness rider helps you to get a lump sum for the first diagnosis only of the listed critical ailments, like first time heart attack, kidney failure, or some sort of liver failure. These are few of the I mean, I really won't go into the details of the 25 critical ailments or the 12 critical ailments which are listed down by IRDA. But this is one rider which, if you do subscribe to, the premiums are not very high. But imagine the kind of cash outflow that a person will go through when such a scenario of critical ailment does take place. And if there is a policy to protect you with a huge lump sum amount of 25 lakhs or 30 lakhs, imagine the kind of financial, at least the financial side of the complication gets taken care of. You're already going through a painful medical scenario, but if the painful medical plus financial scenario comes together, imagine the kind of mental stress that somebody will go through. So this is a rider which gives a lump sum when such critical illness is diagnosed for the first time, and it has been seen to have tremendous support financially to that family. And one of the this is not a rider, but one of the very common benefits that is coming up is teleconsultation and telemedicine, where you can just call up. So Practo is one such platform where you can, you don't have to go to the hospitals for some minor fever and cough. They have a pretty decent set of certified doctors where you can just call them up, and you can take a consultation. And this has become more prominent post the COVID, because people are pretty hesitant even today to visit the hospital for very minor illnesses. So these are few of the trends that's been seen in the insurance industry.
Wow, that's great. We have a question from YouTube. I'll just read it out to you. We have seen some hospital do charge more. If there is an insurance and this could affect the insurance company bottom line, how can this be managed so that personal cover is not exhausted? Basically, uh, when the hospital bill footed is way above your policy coverage. Now, what can be done? Because if a person is going in for a planned hospitalization, it can be foreseen. But what about unforeseen circumstances? What's your thought?
Okay, this is a very good question, a very prominent one, a very prominent problem that we see, because hospitals don't have a regulatory body to really fix the price and to fix the kind of treatment costs that they set for themselves. So as Aditya already pointed out, if you have a planned hospitalization, you can still do something about it. You can figure out, you can go, you can tell them, look, I don't have insurance. Can you give me a bed which is, you know your limits, and so you can go and say, do you have some room available which is, below 5,000 or below 7,000? But let's say there is an emergency scenario, and you really can't do much. So every corporate policy has a TPA associated with them. The TPA is basically the claims processing body for the insurance company. So you as an employee should know who's your TPA. You should be able to very clearly note down your emergency contact numbers, and during such, please share those details with your family members who is your emergency contact, so they can reach out to those TPAs, the spokesperson, who would be more than willing to help you and negotiate the price. But in all probability, this case will only happen when it's a reimbursement claim. But if you are in a hospital and if it is a cashless claim, you don't need to really worry about that, because they have pre-agreed rates with the insurance companies, with the TPAs, and there is no way the hospitals can overcharge you. But again, having said that, there are unplanned hospitalizations, there are emergency hospitalization, and even though I might say a lot of things, but at the bottom line, it's very difficult to really regularize and give you a sure shot answer that if you do this, your costs will be under, under the correct figures.
Great. And Kuldeep Sharma has given a shout out. Thank you, Coach Sisodia and Chandana, for this session. You guys uncovered a lot of unknown components with respect to corporate. And BD has also mentioned thank you. It's amazing. So, Chandana, my one final question to you, and this
Sure.
is for most of our younger audience. And when I use the term younger audience, I mean the age bracket of 20 to 35, because this is where this question is quite relevant. And this is the final question for our tonight show: retirement benefits. How can you plan for the future?
Okay, very, very relevant and very pertinent question for the younger generation. I personally made myself aware at a very later stage in my life. But if you're starting your career, and saving for the future is very important. It could be as low as 500 rupees. It could be as high as 10,000 rupees. It's your choice. But few of the very decent um, instruments that are available in the market are the Employee Provident Fund, the NPS scheme, the PPF. So these are few of the very, very stat not government regulated schemes, which gives a pretty decent amount of returns. For example, in an EPF, the current percentage that is being offered is 8.5% per annum. I mean, you can't even imagine this kind of returns in any other instrument other than SIP and mutual funds. So there are a lot of mutual funds which are tax saving in nature, which are called the ELSS funds. You can try investing in those. So SIP is as low as 500 rupees. So it's very important that the thought process that there will be a time when you will not be willing to work, or you'll reach your retirement age. So what little you save today is what will help you when you no more want to work. So have that philosophy in your mind, and obviously you have a lot of platforms already suggesting a lot of good instruments, and read those, keep yourself updated, and keep investing.
Wow, thanks. So, Chandana, a bonus top up question: how was your today's experience on our show?
It was very nice. The questions that came up were very, very thought provoking, and I think um, the questions showed that people are thinking, the people are asking questions, and this is what is necessary for the current employee benefits landscape. It is important that it changes from compensation to your other well-being, other benefits that are being offered. The questions become more relevant to an employer, so that the changes become more relevant to an employee.
Wow. Great. So, Channa, how can people reach out to you?
So they can reach out to me over LinkedIn. I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn name is Chandana Bhattacharya, what you can see. Or you can also drop me an email on chandana.vidz@gmail.com. Or you can also, follow me on Instagram and Twitter with the same name. So drop me any question anytime, and I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Great. And ladies and gentlemen, thank you for supporting us in another successful talk show with an amazing speaker. And I really wanted to bring Chandna because I have personally known Chandna for over a decade and I have seen her progress. And it's quite admirable what work she is doing. One of the takeaway from today's session is do consult your medical practitioner with whom you are having, do have a wealth advisor, and do regularly connect with your insurance agent or insurance company, visit their website, understand your coverage, and if possible, do invest in yourself above all. If you have any questions for me, I would love to address them. My ID is hi@coachsisodia.com. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to wrap up. We'll see you again with another amazing speaker on the stories of opportunity. So do follow our channel, subscribe to it, hit that bell icon so that you will get all the notification right at your finger point. So this is
Thanks,
me,
thanks,
Aditya Sisodia,
thanks,
and
Aditya.
my wonderful host, Chandana Bhattacharya, giving you a shout out. Stay safe, stay happy, and that's a wrap.